there are other things that don't make sense to me. I'm just trying to find an answer and try, like, yeah, that's it.
So when you see the complexity of everything around you, for example, when you see how the ecosystem is so balanced, you have insects, you have birds, you have birds of prey, but then you have predator birds as well. You have all sorts of creatures that are so delicately balanced. Even if you look at the distance the Earth is from the sun, and you look at all of these intricacies, and it points towards a design, right? And then design, anything that we see that is designed, it tells us, or we infer from it, that there must be a designer, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So when you see all of this, for you, you think there is a designer as well?
I feel like an creation as creator.
As a creator. So in Islam, what we believe is, it's in chapter 112 of the Quran. Very simple definition of God. And tell me what you think about this. He is God the One, the Independent, does not beget nor is he begotten, meaning he was not given birth to, and he doesn't give birth, and there is none like him. What do you think about these 4 points that I've mentioned? Does it make sense logically? That's our very basic definition of God. We don't believe God is a man. We don't believe God is a tree. We don't believe God is an animal. We believe that God is independent of everything else, and we believe that God is unlike anything else. Reason being, because if there is anything that you see around you, it's all dependent on something else. And you remember the second thing I said? God is independent. So what do you think so far about what I said?
But there is something that triggers, like, if everything has a creator.
Anything that begins to exist has a creator. The universe began to exist, therefore the universe has a creator. This is the deductive logical argument that we present forth.
So God never began to exist.
Exactly. Because God didn't begin to exist, because I'm sure if you know when the Big Bang happened, that was the start of time and space. Before the Big Bang, there was no time, there was no space. Yeah, so anything pre-Big Bang doesn't follow the rules of time and space and the likes. But it's only post-Big Bang that we understand that, oh, this is time, this is space, this is how this is formulated, this is how that's formulated. So God is outside of time and space. That's why we make it very clear, God is not a man. Because a man has to be on this planet. And if he's on this planet, then he is subject to time, space, weaknesses. He or it itself is dependent on something else. So God, we believe, is independent of the universe, not dependent and not within the universe. What do you think so far?
It makes sense.
Yeah? So because of that, yeah, what we say logically is, if God is there, do you believe, based upon everything that you see, so we believe there is intelligence around us. So if there is intelligence around us, then surely the creator of all of this intelligence should also be intelligent, right? And another degree of intelligence is wisdom. If you're able to navigate the complexities of the universe, that indicates wisdom, right? Now, what do you think about this? It is not befitting of the characteristic of wisdom for you to create something with no purpose whatsoever.
I do not understand.
So, if you say, for example, what's your name? Cherib. Chlirib.
Yeah.
MashaAllah. Wow, amazing name. Chlirib. I'm going to try to remember that. Chlirib. So let's just say Chlirib. I say Chlirib is very wise. Yeah? Very wise guy. And then he makes an invention. All of us gather around a Chlirib. What is this? He said, I just make. No, why? What's the reason for this? I don't know. Would you think Shlirib is a wise person if he is making so many things with no purpose whatsoever? So Shlirib, only if I ask Shlirib and Shlirib goes, this is the reason I made this is the reason I made that, and then you go, wow, whoa, I really understand now. That shows wisdom, right? So for God, we say, if God is intelligent and he is wise, he would not create all of this complex human beings for no reason. Yeah? So because he is intelligent, because he is wise, it follows logically that if somebody is wise, they will create things for a purpose. Make sense? You can challenge me if you want. I don't mind.
I have questions about evidence.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Like, for example, the thing about the sea.
Splitting of the sea.
Yeah. Like, how? Why is it an evidence for you? Like that it is written in the book, right?
Yeah.
But like,
I will tell
how
you
is
the
that-
evidences. Because
at that time people just they saw it at some point.
I understand. I understand.
How is that an evidence? How does that make it an evidence?
I got you. So the thing is, in order for us to start analyzing the miracles, first we need to analyze the book that the miracles are contained within it. And the book, for us to validate that, we have to first acknowledge and accept that's the book. for us to understand and to critique the book, we have to first accept that that book has come from the creator. That's what we're starting with first. First discussion is there a God? Is it logically conceivable there's a God? Is there evidence of a God? Then we talk about book, then we talk about prophet. So in that order, everything that you have today, inshallah, God willing, will be answered. In that order, that's the logical order. So you have no issue believing in a God. You have no issue believing that we have a purpose, right? So now, logically, the question arises, if God is now to communicate our purpose to us, how would he do it? So there are two main options. Either he only tells one person or a community, and then they tell everybody else. But the issue with that is, human beings can die. Yeah? So if somebody dies, how do we know? The reason why book is so good is because the concept of writing stuff down, the concept of memorizing, of conversing is something which is universal and has been universal for a very long time. Yeah? That's how we communicate with each other. So book makes the most sense. Yeah? Now the question arises, which book? Yeah? Now, I really want you to think now. Yeah? According to your understanding, what would make a book from God? What evidence do you require? Any evidence.
That it cannot be reproduced, like no one else can write it.
Okay, no one else can reproduce it. Good.
Anytime mistakes.
Yeah, no mistakes. And everything the truth and can be proved or understand and being understood by the people. By the people.
Okay, anything else? Okay, so the first thing that you said was it can't be something that can be reproduced by mere man, right? So we have scholars, non-Muslim scholars, like Angelica Newworth. She is an expert when it comes to Arabic and the Quran and the likes. Non-Muslim, by the way, not speaking about Muslim. She says that the Quran has a challenge inside it. When you check, you will see this as well. That if you believe that the Quran comes from anyone else, then produce a verse like it. That if it was to come from someone else, then you should easily be able to copy it, replicate it. But nobody has been able to replicate a chapter like the Quran.
If everyone can understand it, why can can they recruit?
That's a good question. That's a good question. And I would pose the same question to anybody else, that if it is so easy, why has nobody done so?
But no one ever tried.
Yes, they have. Because the peak time for it to be tried, the mastery of Arabic was at the time of revelation. Yeah? 1400 years ago, Arabic was at its peak. Yeah? Even in terms of historicity, that's the peak time of Arabic. And at that time, even till today, no one has managed to do so. There is no credible evidence anywhere that somebody has successfully replicated a chapter like the Quran. Hasn't been done. Muslims have made this claim. Non-Muslim scholars like Angelica Neworth has made this claim as well. Now why? And I'll come back to that. The second thing that you said was?
No mistakes.
No mistakes. The Quran makes this challenge itself and says that if it was from someone else, inside you would find many contradictions in it. And we come to the park every weekend. There's YouTube videos, TikTok videos, Instagram reels, Snapchat stories. If there was contradictions, it would be everywhere.
But I read some parts and it's written that some parts have been cancelled. Like
Abrogated.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, abrogation and contradiction are two different things. Contradiction is something that's unintended. It's a weakness in the text. Abrogation in terms of the Quran is facilitation of the text. And it's not done unintentionally, it's done intentionally by the Creator. So the Quran makes this clear. Yeah? But contradictions is the issue that we're dealing with at the moment. We can come back to abrogation. Contradiction means that somebody is so unorganized that when they are claiming or they're writing something, maybe 5 years later, maybe 20 pages later, they are saying something else. Like they are not consistent. That what they are saying is not divine, not from the Creator. It's from their own head. Yeah, because that's the sign of human beings. We forget. And our memory, our ability is limited. So the Quran, the holy book, any holy book cannot be reflective of a human being. So the Quran makes this claim, and till today, nobody has brought valid, strong, stern contradiction of the Quran. Hasn't been done. In fact, you will notice, and this is the third point, it has to be accessible to everybody. The Quran was revealed 1400 years ago. Until today, the same wording. The same wording. You will go here, Speaker's Corner, people will be giving free Qurans. You'll go Stratford, free Qurans. Leicester Square, free Qurans. When's the last time you were walking on the street and they were giving you copies of the Vedas, the Hindu text? Have you ever seen that in your life?
No, but neither this like the first time.
This is the first time. Because I'll say just have a walk around London and you will see at least 2-3 stalls, they will all have Qurans on them. All of them, I give guarantee. Maybe because in France, the different law over there, because they have so much freedom of speech there that freedom of speech has been taken away. But over here, we still have some left. So any Quran, any Muslim that is giving Dawah, which is he's propagating the religion, they give Quran for free, no problem. Bible, there is the Protestant Bible, 66 books. There's the Catholic Bible, 70 odd books. Then you've got the Orthodox Bible. Then you've got the Roman Catholic Bible, the Ethiopian Bible. I've quoted at least 5 different versions of the Bible. It's the same with the Vedas of the Hindus. There's so many different versions. Yeah, even the Manusmriti, their book of the law. One is by Manu, one's by someone else, one's by somebody else, and there's too many different versions. Quran, one. Even when there's different sects of Muslims, they will disagree about other things, but the Quran, they will not disagree on the Quran. Even the sects that we don't even accept to be as Muslims, like Qadianis, even they accept the Quran as well. Yeah, so this fulfills your third criteria, which is something that needs to be easy to understand something that needs to be accessible. You go, you Google it, it comes up. It's the same, no problem. Yeah, and in terms of easy to understand, look how tiny the book is. The Vedas, 8 volumes. Manusmriti, some people accept Manusmriti, some people don't. Even the Catholic Bible and the Protestant Bible, there are like 4 books that the Protestants don't accept to be canon. They don't accept that. Do you see? So bearing that in mind, sorry sister, he's just there all the time. So if you don't mind if we just stand over here, is it okay? Yeah.
I have
Is
knowledge
it okay
from
we just stand
Allah.
here, yeah?
I have knowledge from Allah.
Because you know we're talking about something serious and he's just wearing a mask. If you just stand over here, that's okay. We just face that way, yeah? Sorry. Is that?
I prefer there.
You
She doesn't want to be seen in the camera, I think.
okay. For our one is okay though, yeah?
Just not the face, like she can.
Okay,
she can
okay.
be heard and everything.
Alright. Okay. So bearing that in mind, the accessibility, the agreement of the text, and the lack of contradictions, and the lack of replication of text, these all fulfill your criteria. Yeah? But I will tell you one other thing, a few other things as well that wasn't part of your criteria. Language. You know what language Jesus spoke?
What is it?
Aramaic.
Yeah.
Aramaic. You know the language of the New Testament? Koine Greek. Jesus spoke Aramaic. New Testament, Koine Greek. But any book you see today of the Bible, all written in English. Quran was revealed in Arabic. Muslims read in Arabic. Arabic is the 4th, 5th or 6th, it fluctuates every year, most spoken language on the planet. Who speaks Koine Greek? Forget Koine Greek. They believe Jesus is God. Who speaks the language of God? Aramaic. Have you come across anybody who speaks Aramaic? It's an endangered language. According to UNESCO, it's endangered. Like, you know, you have endangered species like pandas and all of that. It's an endangered language, for God's sake. I don't understand this. The language of God is endangered. How does this make sense? Hindus,
But because it has been changed.
no, it means that nobody is bothered preserving the language. If they can't even preserve the language of God, how on earth are they going to preserve the language of the Bible? Sorry?
It's the language of the revelation, not the language of God. We should separate between these two things.
Not necessarily, because Koine Greek and Aramaic, they overlap. You should know this.
Yes, I know this, but what I say is that
So if Aramaic is endangered, then that points issues with Koine Greek, because there's accessibility problems with Koine Greek as well.
I just tried to I mean, you said that it's the language of God, but
Yes.
I don't believe it's the language of God. I think that maybe for you Arabic is the language of God, but I can say that both are the language of
What
God.
language
God
did-
has another language.
What language did Jesus speak?
Aramaic, as you said.
I don't understand what the issue is then.
No, you said...
That's the language of God, right? Do you believe Jesus is God?
No.
Son of God? Then why are we having this discussion? Are you Muslim, Christian? What are you doing?
Because you claim that it's the language of God. This is why
No,
I said...
Christians believe Jesus is God, right? He's speaking Aramaic, right? Aramaic is an endangered language, right?
So your point of view is based on what the Christians say.
Yes, brother, we're talking about Christians.
I thought that it just...
Pay attention, please, brother. You're spoiling the flow of the conversation.
I have a question. Right?
Yes.
Jesus didn't preach and said the words of God.
So Christians believe Jesus was God, right?
Yeah, but other prophets. Because
Yeah, we believe Jesus is a prophet. We don't believe he was God.
teach religion.
Yeah, we believe when Jesus came, he was a prophet and he had a revelation called the Injil and he was the prophet of the time. Yes.
And is there any sign like
believe that any scripture that is given directly to the Prophet. Yeah, so we believe Jesus was given a book, we believe Moses was given a book, we believe David was given a book, we believe a few of them were given revelation.
His book has been, it doesn't exist
Changed.
anymore. Yeah, but it doesn't exist anymore. Like,
Yeah, no anymore, no. Not completely, yes. We believe the Bible of today has some truth in there, but we don't believe that it's revelation as it was revealed when Jesus was alive.
What's true in it is what's true in the Quran.
Exactly, yeah. So whatever is confirmed to us in the Quran, that's what, because I'll tell you why. Because like I was saying, the Quran, it's preserved in terms of language, like it's Arabic. We have access to Arabic today. Number two, it's memorization. Every other family, at least one person has memorized the Quran from cover to cover. You know this? It's normal. If you say to a Muslim, oh, I know someone who's memorized the Quran, it's not a big deal. But if you hear somebody who's memorized the Vedas, whoa, this front page news. What is this? Yeah? Or even the New Testament. The reason why that's going to be more miraculous is because that person is going to have to memorize all the different versions of the Bible. So I think that's going to be miraculous in itself. You see? So with the Quran, it's much more simpler. So language, preserved. Memorization, preserved. Manuscript. We have a manuscript, 4 folios of the Quran that's dating to the time of canonization. Yeah? Dating to the time of canonization. So when the Quran was being put together, we have manuscripts dating to that time. And it's been checked using science. Yeah? It's called the carbon dating method. You aware of this? So to check, if you find an old document, really old document, for you to check what time it's from, you have to do something called carbon dating. Yeah, so that manuscript is in the University of Birmingham. It's been carbon dated to the time of the Prophet. And it's been carbon dated by university, not of Karachi, not of Istanbul, not of Cairo, but University of Oxford. Yeah, they have carbon dated it because you are asking for evidences. I'm slowly going to add the evidences on here. University of Oxford have carbon dated the oldest manuscript of the Quran. We have this, and we compare it with the Quran we have today, 100% word accuracy. 100%. Yeah? Somebody of today, can read the Quran of 1400 years ago, no problem. So the Quran or anything that comes from God has to be something that human beings can't change. And if today, I'll give you one experiment. If all of the holy books were burnt, all of the ancient holy books were burnt, only the Quran would be the one that would be written word for word. Only the Quran word for word. Because of memorization, because of preservation, because of accuracy, all of these things that I mentioned, preservation of language, verification of language, all of these things. What do you think about what I've said so far? So, would I be accurate in saying that out of the holy books that I've mentioned, Quran is the only one that fulfills the criteria of preservation, accuracy, and the criteria that you gave me? Okay. What's next?
Like the question about the miracles.
Miracles.
The baby, the stages.
The development of the... So here's the thing. If we accept there is a God, we believe God created everything. He is all wise. Yeah, He's all knowing, He's all powerful, etc. And then we believe that God revealed a book. He preserved the book. The book is accurate. Then surely what's written in the book must also be correct, right? Logically. You can challenge me.
Against him, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'm not a sensitive person.
No, but that's like this is what I want. Like because all of those miracles, for example, the sea thing, it's not a miracle to me.
The splitting of the sea.
Yeah. No, I mean the fact that it's written in the Quran.
The water mixing with each other.
Yeah.
It's not okay.
Okay, so with the water mixing.
Yeah.
So when you see two very heavy bodies of water coming together,
Yeah, but the fact that it's written in the Quran,
yeah, you don't think that's miraculous?
the fact that it's written, no. What is it?
No problem. The thing is, the Quran will describe certain phenomena, natural phenomena. If one phenomena was enough, then the Quran would have only mentioned one, because you have people of different mentalities, people of different fields. Some people, they're very familiar with the bodies of water. For them, when they see something like that, they will think, wow, this is amazing. For others, there will be other examples that are mentioned in the Quran. For us, the greatest miracle is the miracle of the Quran. The fact that it is preserved, the fact that it is relevant. But if we do mention, I will give you some things that are mentioned in the Quran and mentioned in the Hadith. You know the Hadith, sayings of the Prophet? So there were certain prophecies that were given. Yeah. Now prophecies are that which a person makes a claim about the future. However, that claim is not something which is commonly understood. It's enough for people to think, what's going on here? I'll give you an example, yeah? At the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him, yeah, there were a group of people called the Byzantines, the Romans, yeah, Byzantine Romans. They were fighting against the Persians. They lost. Not only did they lose, they lost really badly. They lost their strongholds, Egypt, Constantinople, Jerusalem. The leader was brought to his knees, embarrassed. A plague had broken out to the people. They were not losing, they were losing badly. At that time, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, made the prophecy between 3 to 9 years, the Byzantines will beat the Persians. This is written in the Quran. Okay? You can check this. The Byzantines will beat the Persians. Historians write, historians like Susan Wise Dawah, they write that the Byzantines were pretty much pathetic, in the sense that they were lazy, they were not well trained, and they didn't have adequate weaponry. Imagine somebody coming along, not only saying that these people are going to win, but then specifying a time. Anyone of the past that's been classified as a fraud, giving a date, a specific date, is something that's a no-go. You just don't do it. Yeah? If you're giving a prophecy, even in cold reading, even palm reading and all that sort of stuff, you don't give specifics. Yeah? Now here the Prophet, peace be upon him, is saying the Byzantines will beat the Persians. That's one thing that's specific. Between 3 and 9 years.
How did we know that they were written like those?
Yeah, because the historians like Susan Wise Bauer, these are historians that have looked into certain battles that have taken place, and you can just read the history books. You can look at the battle that took place 1400 years ago between the Byzantines and the Persians. In fact, we have, and this is another point I was going to mention. You were talking about evidence. Rather than giving a circular reasoning argument that it's true because it's written in the Quran, I'll give an argument that is verifiable outside of the Quran. That we have primary source evidence of somebody called Theophanes. Yeah, he has a book. Historically, it's known as the primary source evidence, yeah, because we have the primary source of the Chronicles of Theophanes. He verifies that the Byzantines did indeed beat the Persians within that time frame that's written in the Quran. So not only do we have manuscripts that talk about the accuracy of the Quran, So the Quran, we can say, is reliable, accurate, even in terms of orthography studies. There's somebody called Van Putten. Yeah? Tell me if I'm going too much for you, yeah? Just, yeah. So in terms of the authority in terms of stomatics, he's up there, yeah? He's the one that's leading the studies. So even if you look within orthography and you compare manuscripts, you compare the dating of the manuscripts, you compare the orthography of the manuscripts, the Quran in all criteria is consistent. Yeah? Even in terms of non-Muslims that are leaders of their fields like Van Putten. Okay, great. Then we look at primary source external of the Quran, like Chronicles of Theophanies, validating this. Then we say, okay, you have the Quran that's been validated, you have Chronicles of Theophanies that have been validated. But how did he know? Why is this accurate? Because you can pick up, you can check yourself. There's another thing added to this prophecy, that the Muslims will also be celebrating as well. Why would the Muslims be celebrating? These are Byzantines. Well, lo and behold, during that time, the Muslims also had a battle. The Battle of Badr. But the Muslims won as well. So they were celebrating as well. So not only is it a specific prophecy in terms of who it's dealing with, it's date specific, and it's multi-layered as well. It's like the Cadillac of prophecies. Yeah? Not something hairy-fairy, written willy-nilly. It's something which has multiple layers, which can be verified using different lines of argumentation. Let's look at a prophecy given by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. A prophecy that he said during his time 1400 years ago was naked, barefoot, well he said unclothed, barefoot herdsmen will compete with one another to make tall buildings. That's the prophecy. One of the companions asked the Prophet, who's this referring to? The Prophet then specified, which is something you don't do if you're a fraud. You don't specify. He said the Bedouins. This was 1400 years ago. The Saudis were in big problems. Before the digging of oil. They would actually encourage and pay people to come and bring commerce into their country, let alone competing to build tall buildings. The Prophet 1400 years ago said these Bedouins, these destitute Bedouins will be competing with one another to build tall buildings. And today if you look, the tallest buildings are being built by who? The Burj Khalifa, Dubai. Yeah? You look at the Meccan clock tower, literally next to the Kaaba. Literally next to the Kaaba. Yeah, then you've got the Jeddah tower, which is again going to be made in Saudi Arabia. Then the Burj Mubarak Khalifa, that's going to be made in, I don't know, UAE or one of these, Kuwait or one of these countries. Then you got a few, like 3 or 4 that have been proposed to be built. And they're just competing with each other. And who are they? The Arabs. Which Arabs? The desert Arabs. Competing with one another. And the oil was only excavated a couple of hundred years ago. It's called the black gold. How did this guy, 1400 years ago, this individual, 1400 years ago, know this? No, but he could have guessed it. Well, there were other Arabs there as well. You say, no, maybe he's intelligent. Well, there are other more intelligent people there as well. Or at least of equal intelligence. Why don't we hear multiple genius prophecies taking place? But that's the question I'm posing to you.
What's the question?
The question is that you see all of these prophecies, their depth and detail. How did a man in the desert that couldn't read or write come up with these prophecies? So these are the options, isn't it? One of the options would be, he was really intelligent. Another option would be, he was very lucky. Another option would be, he was crazy. But all of these options
when we actually compare it with the historicity of the Prophet, they fall. The only one logically that's left is, must be a prophet from God. So we've talked about the logic of there being one God. We talked about the logic of the Quran, the preservation of the Quran, the logic of the Quran. We talked about the Prophet and the prophecies I've given you. Even I was reading about Socrates. Yeah? Socrates is regarded to be the founders of Western philosophy. We have very little written evidence of Socrates. The only solid evidence that we have of Socrates is from his student Plato. Yeah? Many things of the past, the history that we have, the evidence that we have that they even existed, very scanty evidence, but again it's enough. Yeah? When you look at testimony, okay, this person also said it, that person also said it, okay, no problem, must be true. But when you look at the science of hadith, that even the sayings of the Prophet, peace be upon him, have been preserved in terms of the chains of narration. That I standing here can give you the saying of the Prophet in the Arabic language, I can translate it for you, I can tell you the people by name in the chain, how they lived to the Prophet, I can tell you the name, family, tribe, all of the accuracy. How? If it's just a random religion of the desert, how? How is it possible? How is it possible that any time the word evidence gets mentioned, Islam is there? The evidence is there as well. How? What is the explanation of this? You do know. The only logical explanation is it must be from.
There are so many points where it could fail, but it's matching all the criteria in these different sections.
Some miracles, the fact that they took place, we even have evidences with regards to where they took place, like Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah, the story of how they were destroyed. Tal al-Hamam, the place in Jordan. Yeah, if we take all the evidence we can see over there, then we look at the ayah of the Quran when it talks about how they were destroyed by clay rocks, and then we compare it with the scientific understanding, the historical understanding that we have today. It matches side by side. When we look at explanations that the Quran gives pertaining even the origin of the universe, although we don't use the Quran is not a science book, because science by nature changes based upon the evidence. However, when we look at even the way the Quran explains the beginning, you see how the universe, or what you see around you, was together, and then we cleft it asunder, and then we spread it out. This is in line with the understanding that we have of science today. I'm not saying that it is exactly that, because science changes. We believe that Quran transcends science. But what I'm saying is that how did somebody 1400 years ago say this? And today, what's your name? Ali's. So Ali's, my name is Ishan. So Ali's 1400 years ago in the desert, somebody is making such points, such claims that today they are relevant. Today, Islam makes the family unit and the explanation of the family unit very clear, very absolute. Don't disrespect your parents. Stay with your parents. Don't chuck them in an old people's home. Because even if you look at the accuracy of the Quran, it is your responsibility to look after your parents. Even if you look into the grammatical precision of the Quran as well. In Ali's, any aspect you take of the Quran, any aspect you take of the concept of Islam, you will see it not only relevant, but vital today. You ask, I can bring some random person from the park today. I'll tell him there's a camera here, and I will ask him, tell me what a woman is. Definition, give me definition of woman. They'll be confused. Any answer he gives me, if his boss sees what's being filmed, tomorrow he's fired. He gives me answer A, he's fired. He gives me answer B, he's fired. There's no right answer. They cannot tell you what a woman is. They can't tell you what a woman is. They can't tell you what right is, what wrong is. How can you prove using science if this bottle is right or wrong? Or what the purpose of this bottle is? If I stick it underneath a microscope, can it tell me what the purpose of the bottle is? Can it tell me if this bottle is right or wrong, happy or sad? It can't tell me any of this stuff. So that sort of information is not something that science claims. Yeah, science doesn't claim to tell you right or wrong. Science doesn't claim to tell you the purpose of things or why something is. That's why these people today, you know what's happening in Palestine, isn't it? You say, oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. It's like so many children. So many children, you're killing so many children. No, it's okay, self-defense. Self-defense. And they're professors, people with PhD saying, yeah, self-defense. But the guy's got a PhD. The guy's a doctor. Well, what sort of doctor? A doctor like Dr. Pepper? Doctor like Dr. Dre? Probably. Some people, at least, empty. Nothing's there. And that's why, for you to understand all of this, you know in your heart of hearts, all of this has a creator. If I show you a leaf, you look at a leaf, you go, okay. But if I bring a Picasso picture, painting of a leaf, oh wow. So £12,000 then being bid on the auction, £12,000. Last week, what was it? I think it was like $15 million. There was a banana taped to a canvas. The hell is going on here? $15 million, and then a Chinese guy bought it and he ate it. You go to my local grocers, he'll give you one for 20 pence. Forget 20 million. At least this is the problem with people's mentality. Everything finished. Everything gone. That's because if there's no God, there's nothing. Without God, you have no... If you are going with him, you're going somewhere down there, and it's cold, yeah? You're freezing cold, and he says, we need to walk for 2 hours. Don't wait, 2 hours. So, okay. How long left? 1.5 hours. Okay. Keep going. Oh, no, 1 hour. Okay. So, we've been going for so long. Where are we going? I don't know. No, but I thought I don't know where we're going. Are you going to think he's smart guy, intelligent guy? Think this guy's more dumber than the guy who bought $20 million banana and ate it? Because he doesn't know where he's going. So Elise is very important. We know that the complexity of the leaf, we know the complexity of the human cell. Look, even the complexity of a mobile phone. Yeah? Mobile phone has camera. We're impressed. My phone has 2 megapixel, 3 megapixel, I don't know how many megapixel camera, but the eye is much more stronger, much more solid, much more precise and accurate than this. This has the memory, but we have the brain. Till today, we still don't understand fully the amazing nature of the brain. Consciousness, does it emanate from the mind? Does it emanate from the brain? Well, I don't know. We still don't know. Yeah, then you've got the short-term memory as well. This has got short-term memory as well. Yeah? Then it's got the battery. We've got the stomach and the digestive system and all of this. But this is something that people think, wow, Apple is coming with they release the same thing pretty much. Every other year, it's the same thing, just one extra thing tweaked in there. Khalas. But look at the human being. Allahu Akbar. One day the heart beats 100,000 times. Every day. That's the solid nature of the heart. Toyota, if it breaks down after 25 years, Toyota's a solid car. They use it everywhere. Afghanistan use it, Russia use it, over here they use it. Those Toyota Jeep type trucks, solid. But the human heart is expected to beat every day, 100,000 times a day, roughly for 70 years. what is this? But that's not impressive. That's not impressive. The new DVD player, the new flat screen TVs, that's impressive. Elon Musk makes a robot, that Tesla robot, that all the news, if you read like the third, fourth paragraph, they were being controlled by human beings. People are losing their minds over it. Oh wow, Tesla robot. Well, what can he do? They can't do anything. It's rubbish, let's be honest. But the human being comes along and he's like, yeah, look at me. I can do all of this. Wow, wow, wow. People are like, yeah, whatever. You came by chance. Millions of years of evolution. What evolution? Once upon a time they believed human being was fish. Okay, if they convince you you're a fish, you are a fish. Yeah? Then, I'm not finished, then billions years later, you became a frog. So then you have to take another miracle. Then you became lizard. Then you became koala bear. Then God knows. This is miracle upon, this is a lot of probability. Compounding probability. But you have to believe this. Because it's science. Science is telling you this. But when religion says, look, everything has a purpose. Coat has purpose, shoes have purpose, gloves has purpose, this has purpose, that has purpose, you have purpose. No, it's not.
About coming by chance, there, like people say, there's something that's something happens can happen if you all the conditions are, like it's perfect, so it happens.
Is the quality of perfection equivalent to chance or equivalent to design? Perfection. If you see a perfect circle, you see leaves in a perfect circle if you're in a desert somewhere, are you going to be happy that, oh, there's somebody around that can give me water? Or you're just going to stand there and just thirsty and when someone needs water, not starved to death, but parched. Or parched to death. That doesn't sound right. Thirsty to death, but let's just stick with that. Yeah. Are you going to think that someone created that circle or is there by chance?
Like the first thing that
So you go in the desert, you see a perfect circle. Are you going to think a human was here or are you going to think it was chance? And you're not going to bother looking for a human being and then you're going to die? You would. If you, what your name is? Alice. If you are in Elon Musk's mission to Mars and you go there and you are digging with the spade, yeah? And then you dig and you open up and there's a phone in there.
But that could be an explanation. It's not because it's at first like...
But no one's been to Mars.
My mind is...
Listen to this. If they dig and someone comes and you come across a phone, what are you going to say to Command Central? Hey, I just found the latest iPhone. Probably came by chance over billions of years. Or are you going to say, I found an iPhone here. What do you guys think? Shall I look for life? Which of the two?
Yeah, but my point is to say that could be an explanation. You can say that's not possible.
But the explanation... But the explanation, I'm giving you the explanation. I'm saying the explanation of everything that we see is a designer. Do you see it?
Everything could have come by chance if all of the requirements are met, like if everything was, perfect, then could have come by chance.
Forget that. Let's get into mathematics, yeah? You know we're all made from proteins, right? Let's take the simplest protein. 100 amino acid protein, yeah? Because proteins are made from amino acids. Very simplest one, 100 amino acids. For you to make the protein that's required for human being, you need the L protein, not the D protein. So already, the probability of you getting the L proteins is 1 in 10 to the power of 30. Very small. On top of that, you need the amino acids to have a certain bond, the peptide bond, not the other bonds, not James Bond, yeah? Yeah. That then increases the probability. 1 in 10 to the power of 60. That's 0.0000000000. 0.0000000 is 57 zeros. 57 zeros. That's one amino acid to come by chance. Then we have to look at the red blood cell coming by chance. Then we have to look at the other aspects, the lysosome coming by chance. But it's becoming ridiculous now. The lysosome coming by chance. These are all parts of the cell, by the way, yeah? Lysosome, the rough endoplasmic reticulum, the nucleus, the amino acids. Then we're dealing with the white blood cell. Then we're dealing with the red blood cell. Then we're dealing with all of these, the lymphatic system and all of this. Then we're dealing with the heart. Then we're dealing with the eye. Then we're dealing with the hair. Then we're dealing with the foot. Then we're dealing with the opposable thumb. We haven't even gone to the universe yet. Because for the universe, right at the beginning, it had to be one. The forces of expansion and contraction had to be 1 in 10 to the power of either 16 or 55. I would say 1 in 10 to the power of 55. I haven't even talked about the atom yet. That's 1 in 10 to the power 16. You add all of these probabilities, you know what this is similar to? I'll tell you. You go home. The door is normal. You open the door, then you go to your sitting room. You have the turkey there with the stuffing. Then you've got the gravy there. Then you've got the crackers there. Then you've got all the chairs there. You've got the fire that's lit there. Full Christmas dinner with the trimmings. Everything there. And you go in and you go, nice. It's by chance. Still not zero. Not zero. Chance. Then you see, when you say this out loud, people are hiding behind the sofa because they'd be surprised for you. They come out of the sofa going, what is this? Why do you think, come on. You cross the road, you don't see, because we're in central London here, you might see a Maserati or a Lamborghini and you see some rich guy riding it. If you see, you're like, wow. Still not zero. Millions, billions of years. He's going to look at you and he's going to be very offended. Point that I'm trying to say is, we don't use this concept with anything else in life. We see a Lamborghini, we know somebody designed a Lamborghini. You see Christmas dinner on the table, you know somebody cooked the Christmas dinner. You see cup of tea, you don't say the saucer flew onto the table, cup flew on there, water flew on there. No, it doesn't make sense. Similarly, when you look at this level of probability, it doesn't work for anything else. Nothing else, we think, that came randomly. Only when it comes to the creation, only when it comes to the things that actually matter, we become Einstein. Yeah, we think, everything chance. Actually, not even Einstein. I'd say the wish version of Einstein. Yeah, it's all we become pseudo-scientists. We start using obscure scientific theories that don't make any sense. We don't say chance in anything else. We don't say chance created anything. But when it comes to everything, well, some people say, a lot of people say a lot of things about Einstein, but one thing that is, I saw it in one of his books, and he said the most inconceivable thing about the universe is that it is conceivable. Yeah, and I personally checked and cross-referenced this quote. Point that I'm trying to say is that even if you look at the geniuses, yeah, the one who formulated, actually he found the evidence for the cosmic microwave background radiation, Arnos Penzias. Even he said that when you look at the it's because it's so cold, intricacies the intricacies of the universe, you will conclude that there was a supernatural plan. This guy is a scientist, one of the most celebrated scientists. He got the Nobel Prize. So the point that I'm trying to say is, whether you want to look into evidences of the preservation of the Quran, what's written in the Quran, the prophecies of the Prophet, be it in terms of tall buildings, when he didn't know about the oil, be it in terms of him predicting, in terms of accuracy, 3 to 9 years the Byzantines will beat the Persians. When you look at even the accessibility of the Quran, the Arabic, preserved language. When you look at the sayings of the Prophet, we have the chains of narration, the isnad, that any guy can go home and can check. Who is Alqama? Who is Ibrahim al-Naqai? We can check the name, their family, their tribe, everything. Sister, this is how religion should be. Life is too complex out there. It's way too complex. If the thing that's supposed to help you navigate life, imagine if that thing is complex as well. You ask a Christian, Old Testament, New Testament, they don't believe it's the Word of God. They believe it's inspired by God, written by human beings. Hindus believe something very similar. God, there was a God who used to be blue, Vishnu. He came down and then he was in the form of an avatar. He was blue as well. And then he was fighting somebody who had 10 heads. No, when he came in the Ram, he was fighting the Ravan, who had 10 heads. Then this guy, it's just loads of things happening, it's confusing. Religion's supposed to be simple. It's supposed to help you with life. So, what was your next question? So my question then would be to you. Can you guarantee me that you're going to survive tomorrow? You don't know, yeah? You don't know whether you're going to survive till tomorrow. Would you like to meet God in a state that you believe in Him, you have appreciated what He has sent to you, and you have lived according to what He said? Or you want to meet Him saying, but it still wasn't zero? The first option, right? And do you think that when you look around you and when you navigate, the more you learn about life, do you feel that human beings are to be trusted more or God is to be trusted more? No human beings. Then I ask you, what else do you require? What more evidence do you need for you to accept Islam? What's left? So let me ask you, do you believe God is one? No. Do you? I'm just asking. You believe God is one? Yeah? You believe He has no partners. He doesn't need anyone else. You believe that the book sent that makes the most sense is the Quran. The one that makes the most sense to you in terms of like the Quran, right? In terms of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, you believe that it's logical, the most logical option was that he was a prophet. For us, that's the definition of a believer. That's the definition of belief. Now you can accept Islam now, or you can accept it 1 minute from now, or 2 minutes from now. It's up to you, because you believe the points needed. In fact, you believe in things with very little evidence. Did you see the Big Bang? Did you see evolution? Did you see fish go into lizards and lizards go into donkeys and donkeys go to elephants? You didn't see all of that. Did you see Socrates, Plato, Alexander and all of these people? You didn't see them. But look at the evidence that we discussed today. What were you saying about the holy books? Because the Quran is the only one from the holy books that makes the most sense. What do you think would you find in the other books that would make you think that that's the truth? What do you require? So in terms of even prophecies of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, there's not a single prophecy of the Prophet that's been described as embarrassing. However, one of the senior figures of Christianity is somebody called C.S. Lewis. And there is a prophecy of Jesus called the Olivet Discourse. That was a prophecy of Jesus that didn't come true, according to the Bible, that is. And C.S. Lewis said that's embarrassing. No Muslim has ever said a prophecy of the Prophet is untrue or embarrassing. So I will tell you, they don't even accept that their book is the word of God. They believe it's an inspired word of God. They don't believe that it's unchanged, doesn't have contradictions in it. They accept that there are contradictions in it. How is this from God? Like, why is that okay? Why is something from God filled with contradictions? Why is something from God not in the original language? Do you see? Doesn't make sense. Vedas.
And what other book apart from Quran could you say that?
There's nothing else, yeah.
From God.
That's a very good question.
If there was one. Could there be anyone else? You can all of those criteria that you discussed.
So I would say this. If the answer to all of your things is this makes the most sense, this fulfills the criteria the most, then I ask you the question, once again, what's left for you to accept Islam?
What more do you need?
I don't know.
Say that again?
I have no reflected about it.
If you do think about it now, what's coming into your head? I'd say throw everything, throw the kitchen sink at me, everything.
What have you to think of?
Then, because you accept and you believe the points of Islam that I said, it makes sense for you to accept it. And I'll tell you how simple it is. If I love pasta, yeah, and it's in my head, I love pasta, very nice, tasty. If I say it, I'm just saying something that I believe, right? I love pasta. So if you believe there's none worthy of worship besides Allah, and you believe that Muhammad is the messenger of God, once you say that, you're a Muslim. That's all you need to do. Your journey starts, then you can study, then you can look into, then you can do X, Y, Z. But the thing is that if you believe it, there's something that you have to be honest with yourself. Is the excuse that I'm not accepting genuine, based upon something, or is it just I'm just feeling like you have to pin that down, because living life without God is pointless. Yeah. If you want, just maybe if you walk around or something, and you want to maybe be off camera, just on the side, you accept. It's up to you, because it's your journey at the end of the day. I don't know. I haven't seen you guys here before, and I don't know if I'm going to see you again. There you go. And the thing is, sometimes we make a prayer to God for guidance. And sometimes God gives us that guidance. We just sometimes spur of the moment, we don't realize. Maybe if you walk around, you'll realize that, you know what? This is the answer to my prayer. Because these sorts of things, we shouldn't delay. If somebody tells you, oh, Socrates existed, or this existed, that existed, no problem, that's fine. But you accept there is a God, you accept there is a prophet, you accept that there is a holy book, you accept that it makes sense, you accept that the evidences are solid. My question is, why the delay? And if you're here, it literally takes 1 minute. We can do on the side, you do your shahada, you say it, and then you slowly start your journey. And we help you on your journey. You don't like the camera, we put the camera in the bin, no problem. We put it in the shredder, no problem. Yeah? But the point is, you're a tourist. I have nothing to gain from you. I have nothing. Yeah? You have the most to gain from me. from this. You have an entire family waiting for you, an entire system of guidance waiting for you. And if you accept Islam now, then we can help you, we can give you some prayer mats, we can give you some phone numbers, they can teach you how to pray and all of that. It will help you in your journey. Because in France, we get sometimes calls and messages from people in France because there's not that much freedom of speech there. Over here it's a bit more. So it'll be more easier for you to connect with people here before you go back to France. Sorry? Yeah. So think about it and then let me know. I don't want to push you too much, but again, from the discussion that we've had, for me, it seems like you're a Muslim. But it's up to you. Yeah? Well, yeah. Thank you. Take care. Yes, brother. I'm still confused. You're Muslim, right? Yeah, I didn't understand your point that you're making. She's very close. I think she just wants to think about it. Yeah, you thought I was talking about Islam. Yeah, no problem. You have some biscuits. It'll go well with your coffee.
Just a few questions. I sometimes have my friends, most of them are atheists.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have like some challenging.
Just keep it going. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Sometimes we have like some challenging questions.
Yeah.
About faith.